Hi, welcome back to CSS Tips and Tricks. I'm Steven Korecki, and today I'm going to show you how to lay out your website. So inside our body in our HTML page, we're going to create a div with an ID of wrapper, and this is going to contain our site basically. I'm going to create a header div. I'm going to create a content div. Oops. And we're going to create a footer div. Okay, so now that we have our divs here, we have our wrapper, which is going to wrap everything. We have our header, our content, and our footer. Typically in your header is where you'll put your navigation. Something that a lot of beginners like to do is wrap everything in a div. So if they wanted a navigation inside their header, they would say div ID equals navigation, and then inside there have a bunch of links or have an unordered list or something like that. Well, you can skip all that and you can just say unordered list and give it a few list items. We're just going to say give this an A tag. Oops. So just something simple like that. Now another thing a lot of people like to do is give everything an ID or a class. This can easily be called in the CSS through ID header and then space UL, and then you can just style it like that. So there's no need to give this another ID of navigation or something like that. I'm just going to copy and paste this a couple times just so we have a few links. And so now, if you preview this, we just have a couple links. I have some previous styling on my CSS that just styles the unordered list in that header, like I was talking about, where you can just say the ID header and then the unordered list, and then I'll style that inside of that element. So as you can see, I just had some quick styling to it just to get things started, and we covered how to style a list a couple weeks ago. So let's continue with our layout. And our content. Actually, I take that back. Let's go back to header for a second. Let's just give this an H1 tag. H1 tag could typically be a logo or something. Let's go to our content. Let's get this an H2 tag. Call it content. And let's also throw in a P tag in there. Oops. We'll say get some dummy text in there, and then in the footer we'll also give this a H3 tag and call that footer. Okay, so now if we look at this, it's starting to come together. As you can see, this is butting up against the header here. But we want to keep everything separated, so we're going to have our header, our navigation, and then our content, and then our footer. So now we're going to go into some of the CSS to get the styling correct. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to set the styling for the wrapper. And for now, we're just going to give it a width of auto. And that's basically saying 100%. Next, we'll go install the header. We'll say min height 50 pixels. This is just to show you the background that we're going to give it. And I've already chosen some background colors to use in this. All right. And then we're going to go back to our content. And same thing, we're just going to get a min height of 300 pixels. Give it a background. And now we're also going to style our footer. Min height again, 50 pixels. And we'll set our background. Okay, so now we have our header styled, our content area styled, and our footer styled. So now we preview this, and it's starting to come together. As you'll notice though, there's quite a bit of white space that's being pushed around these divs, and the links are out of its header element. And so we're going to fix that by giving these elements overflow hidden. So we'll say overflow. And I'm just going to copy and paste that to save a little time here. And then what that's going to do is any elements that are overflowing from that div, that div is going to contain everything within it. So now if we look at it, there we go. So now there's no more white space in there, and everything is starting to come together. So we have our section under the header, our content area, and our footer. And this is pretty much the basic layout that I start with for all my sites. You can also start adding columns and stuff like that, but we'll go over columns another time. A couple other things you can do is right now this is what we call a fluid width, so you can keep resizing it. Also, if you want to keep it a fixed width, you can set that in the wrapper, and let's say we'll give it a width of 400 pixels. And so now if we preview that, there we go. We have our set width. Now, a lot of people like to center their content if it's a fixed width, and that's easy to do with CSS. You just say margin, and we're going to say 0 padding or 0 margin from the top and bottom, and auto from the left and right. And what that's going to do is it's going to center our content. Now remember, centering only works if you set a width first. So there you have it. We styled ourselves a basic CSS layout. So use this to get started. Thank you for watching my podcast, and we'll have more stuff next week. Thank you.